You open your banking app on an ordinary morning. Your coffee is still hot on the table, the car in the driveway hasn't even started yet, but your finger pauses before the balance loads onto the screen. Part of you wants to close the app before seeing the number, because whether your checking account says $47 or $1,200 can completely change the emotional weight of the entire day. Net worth is not the salary people flex on LinkedIn. It's everything you own minus everything you owe. Your savings account, your 401k, your Roth IRA, your car, minus your credit card balances and student loans. This video is not about how much you make. It's about how life changes as your net worth grows. At every level, what changes isn't just the amount of money. It's the way you sleep, the way you breathe, and the way you look at the future. At the first level, your net worth isn't zero. It's negative $50,000, sometimes negative $100,000. Your paycheck lands in your checking account Friday morning, and by the evening, it's already almost gone. Rent, groceries, gas, car payments, insurance, minimum payments quietly pulling pieces of your income away before you can even hold on to it. You open your credit card statement and realize the balance only dropped by $80, while interest almost immediately added itself back on top. Student loans sit there like a long shadow stretching into the future, making life feel like money has already been taken from years you haven't even lived yet. A random unknown phone number calling your phone is enough to tighten your stomach. Emails from the bank or your loan servicer sit unread in your inbox because part of you already knows what they say. At this stage, budgeting doesn't feel empowering. It feels like a mirror, showing you things you don't want to see. You're not living according to a plan. You're living according to due dates. And the most painful part isn't the debt itself. It's slowly beginning to believe this might simply be what normal life feels like forever. Then, eventually, one month, the negative number disappears. Your net worth reaches zero. There are no fireworks. Nobody applauds. It's just another ordinary night when you open your banking app, check your credit card balance, and for the first time in years, it says $0. No more minimum payments dragging behind you every month. No more interest quietly eating pieces of your next paycheck before it even arrives. Rent still exists. Groceries are still expensive. Gas prices still move up and down unpredictably. But the bills no longer feel like they're chasing you anymore. You start building a budget, not because you're afraid of punishment, but because you genuinely want to understand where your money is going. You still don't feel rich. Your savings account is probably still small. Your 401k may barely have anything inside it. But your sleep feels lighter. $0 is not failure. For someone who spent years underwater, zero is the first real form of freedom. You still don't have much to show off, but for the first time, your past is no longer automatically taking money away from your future. Then you see $10,000 for the first time. Not on someone else's thumbnail, not inside a video about financial freedom. It's sitting inside your own savings account. Part of it has been moved into a high-yield savings account, where your money is no longer just sitting still the way it used to. The feeling isn't loud, but it is real. Your car throws a warning light, and the mechanic says the repair will cost $420. Before, that number could have ruined your entire month. Now, it's still annoying, but it's no longer a disaster. A small medical bill shows up in the mail, and it no longer makes your chest feel heavy the way it used to. You begin automatically moving $100, then $250 a month into an index fund, or VOO. The portfolio hasn't grown much yet. Some days it's even red. But for the first time, money is no longer only leaving your life. A small piece of it is staying behind, working for your future. $10,000 doesn't make you rich, but it makes life feel less scary. For the first time, a $400 problem is just a $400 problem, not a crisis. At the $50,000 net worth level, life still isn't rich, but it finally starts having a foundation. Your emergency fund is no longer just a few $100s sitting in a savings account. It's enough to keep you standing if the car needs a $900 repair, if your company cuts your hours, or if multiple bills hit at the same time. You have a Roth IRA, a 401k, or a small brokerage account. With every paycheck, your contribution goes up another 1%. The employer match is no longer some confusing line inside the HR portal. It feels like a quiet raise, as long as you don't miss it. Your credit card is no longer a desperate life raft. You use it with control, pay the full balance, then open a spreadsheet on Sunday night like you're looking at the dashboard of your own life. You can buy a used car in cash, or at least avoid letting a car payment swallow your entire month's oxygen. You're not free yet, but you're less fragile. You're no longer only reacting to life. You're starting to design it. At the $100,000 net worth level, you hit your first six-figure milestone. You thought you might scream, or that life would suddenly feel different. But really, it's just another quiet night. You sit in front of your laptop and watch your 401k, Roth IRA, brokerage account, and savings account add up to $100,318. The feeling doesn't explode. It feels more like a long exhale. Your portfolio starts producing small dividends. Employer matches, automatic contributions, index funds, and VO no longer feel like separate ideas. They run like a system. You start thinking about a down payment for your first home. The mortgage might be close to what rent used to cost, but part of the payment would now move into home equity. When the news talks about a recession, it still bothers you, but you don't panic sell. When you negotiate salary, your voice sounds steadier. $100,000 doesn't make you rich overnight. It proves the system is working. The biggest change is not the number itself, it's the person you had to become in order to keep that number. At the $250,000 net worth level, money starts feeling heavy in a very real way. It's no longer just small numbers sitting inside a spreadsheet. A strong quarter in the market can push your portfolio up $12,000, more money than you once managed to save over 6 months of work. Home equity quietly grows too, month after month, with every mortgage payment. But this level isn't only about feeling like you're winning. There are days your account drops $18,000 from a market correction alone. Your chest still tightens. Your hand still wants to refresh the app over and over again. But this time, you don't panic sell. You review your allocation, rebalance according to the schedule, then close the laptop. You begin thinking further ahead now. Life insurance, beneficiaries, long-term planning. Not because you've become pessimistic, but because you finally understand that protecting wealth matters just as much as building it. You stop asking what the market is doing to you today. You start asking what you're going to do over the next 10 years. At the $500,000 net worth level, compounding no longer feels like a beautiful idea on paper. It starts appearing directly in real life. You open your brokerage account on a Sunday night and see the portfolio grow by $22,000 during a few strong months, even though you didn't work a single extra hour for that money. CoastFi no longer sounds abstract. If you maintain a reasonable investing pace and avoid breaking the system you built, the future could look dramatically different from the years when you lived paycheck to paycheck. Your job still matters, but it's no longer the only life raft keeping you afloat. Maybe you buy your first rental property. Maybe your dividends now cover part of your groceries, phone bill, or insurance each month. A 3-month sabbatical no longer feels like a fantasy. Your resignation letter might already exist in the drafts folder, even if you haven't sent it yet. You still walk into the office Monday morning, but for the first time, it no longer feels like a cage. At the $1 million net worth level, the screen no longer shows 5 or 6 digits. It shows 7. $1,003,742. You used to imagine this moment would feel loud. Maybe you'd scream, call someone, sit in front of your laptop crying from excitement. But when it actually happens, you just sit there, quietly for a few seconds, close the computer, and go for a walk around the neighborhood like it's any other evening. $1 million does not mean life suddenly becomes problem-free. It simply changes the type of problems you deal with. According to the 4% rule, $1 million can theoretically generate around $40,000 per year through cautious withdrawals. But you understand that isn't a guaranteed promise. It's a framework, not a magic ticket out of reality. You begin caring about tax strategy, backdoor Roth contributions, wills, trusts, estate planning, donor-advised funds. Words that once sounded distant and complicated are now sitting inside meetings with your CPA. The car might still be old. The house might still look ordinary from the outside. But underneath that normal surface, the rules of life have completely changed. You once thought becoming a millionaire would make you want to show the world. But when the moment finally arrives, the only thing you truly want is to protect it, grow it, and never become the old version of yourself again. At the $10 million net worth level, you are no longer managing everything by yourself. One morning, instead of opening your own spreadsheet like before, you're sitting on a call with a CPA, an estate attorney, and an advisory team. The question is no longer, do I have enough money this month? The question is how the wealth is being protected, allocated, and eventually transferred. Your portfolio is no longer just index funds. It includes real estate, business equity, private investments, cash reserves, and a clear tax strategy. Maybe you've already funded 529 plans for your kids. Maybe charitable giving is no longer just a few year-end donations, but something handled through a donor-advised fund or a small foundation. Money doesn't disappear from your mind, but it creates less friction. What becomes rarer now is time, focus, and making the right decisions. You no longer check your portfolio every morning. Not because you don't care, but because now there is an entire system paying attention before you do. At the $100 million or $1 billion net worth level, money no longer changes only your personal life. It begins changing families, businesses, communities, and sometimes even generations that haven't been born yet. A financial decision is no longer about whether to buy a $40,000 car. It could mean selling part of a company, funding a hospital, creating a scholarship fund, or investing millions of dollars into an infrastructure project. You're no longer sitting alone in front of a banking app. There may be a family office, multi-generational trusts, board seats, foundations, attorneys, bankers, advisors, and meetings most people will never enter. The feeling at this level is cold, large, and far less romantic than people imagine. Money no longer only buys freedom. It buys the ability to shape the environment around you. It no longer just pays bills. It pays teams, protects future generations, and sometimes changes the very questions society has to answer. From negative $100,000 to zero. From the first $10,000 to $100,000. From a small brokerage portfolio to home equity, dividends, rental properties, and eventually larger systems like trusts, estate planning, and family offices. Every level changes something about your life. But net worth does not care how rich you look. It does not care what car you drive, what apartment you post on Instagram, or what salary you mention at dinner with friends. It only looks at what remains after everything else. How much you keep, how much you invest, and how long you can stay patient. Net worth is not just money. It is the level of control you have over bills, work, time, and the future. The real question is not whether you are rich yet. The question is, what level are you at now, and what is your next level?